The giant space station spun slowly in the purple light of the gas planet below. Inside the main meeting hall, 12 different types of aliens sat in a wide circle. Some looked like giant lizards, others like walking crystals that made musical sounds when they moved. There were creatures that looked like trees with eyes, and others that seemed to be made of flowing gas. This was the Galactic Council, and today they had to make an important decision. For 50 years, humans had been locked inside their own solar system. The aliens had built invisible walls around Earth's sun to keep them trapped there. They called it the Human Containment Protocol, and most of the aliens thought it was a good idea. The meeting room was huge, with walls that showed the stars outside. Each alien sat in a special chair made for their body type. The air was carefully mixed so everyone could breathe, though it smelled strange with all the different creatures together. Ambassador Zektar spoke first. He was tall and snake-like, with scales that changed color when he was angry. His yellow eyes glowed as he looked around the room. "We all remember why humans were banned," he said in a voice that sounded like grinding rocks. "They are violent. They fight wars. They destroy things. They cannot be trusted with the rest of the galaxy." Several other aliens nodded their agreement. The crystal being made a sound like breaking glass, which meant yes in their language. The tree-like alien moved its branches slowly, showing it was thinking hard about this. The leader of the council was called Prime Ethereal Vorthun. It looked like a cloud of blue and green gas floating in the air, with tiny lights sparkling inside it. When it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "The humans have asked to join us again," it said. "Their ambassador wishes to speak." A blue light appeared in the center of the room, and suddenly a human man stood there. He wasn't really there. It was just a hologram sent from far away. The man was tall with gray hair and wore a dark blue uniform. His name was Peter Kane, and he was Earth's ambassador to the galaxy. "Thank you for allowing me to speak," Peter said. He looked calm, but everyone could see he was nervous. "My people have been alone for 50 years. We have learned much during this time. We have grown. We have changed." The lizard-like alien made a sound like an angry cat. "You expect us to believe humans have changed. We have seen your history. Wars, weapons, violence everywhere." Peter nodded. "Yes, our past was dark. But that was long ago. We have united as one world now. We have spread to Mars and the other planets in our system. We have done this without war, without violence." A creature that looked like a giant bug clicked its mandibles together. "You say you have changed, but we know better. Our spies have watched you. You still make weapons. You still prepare for war." "We make tools to protect ourselves," Peter answered. "Every species does this. But we have not fought each other for 30 years. Our children learn peace in school. Our leaders work together for the good of all humans." The floating gas cloud leader pulsed with different colors. "These are nice words, human. But words are easy. Actions are harder. You ask us to remove the barriers around your system. You ask us to trust you with access to thousands of worlds, billions of beings." Peter stood straighter. "I ask you to give us a chance to prove ourselves. Let us show you what humanity has become." The room fell quiet. The aliens looked at each other, some making sounds, others flashing lights, all of them talking in their own ways. Most seemed to disagree with what Peter was asking. Finally, the leader spoke again. "We will vote in 1 week. Until then, this session is closed." The blue light faded, and Peter's image disappeared. The aliens began to leave, most of them shaking their heads or making negative sounds. They had already decided. Humans would stay locked away for much longer. Peter Kane's hologram appeared again in the council chamber. This time he brought pictures and videos to show the aliens. He wanted to prove that humans had changed during their 50 years alone. The room fell silent as Peter began to speak. "Look at what we have built," Peter said. Behind him, images of Earth appeared in the air. Beautiful cities covered in gardens reached toward the sky. Clean rivers flowed through parks. The air looked clear and blue instead of the gray smog from old human cities. The crystal alien made a sound like wind chimes. Pretty pictures mean nothing, it said. We know what humans really are. Peter showed more images. Humans working together on Mars, building homes inside giant domes. Children from different countries playing together in schools that floated in space. Scientists from every nation working side by side to solve problems. But the aliens were not impressed. The snake-like Zektar stood up, his scales turning dark red with anger. Enough of this show, he hissed. Let us remember what humans truly are. The air in the room changed. Now everyone could see different pictures, ugly ones. Videos of human wars filled the space above them. Soldiers shooting at each other, bombs falling on cities, nuclear weapons creating giant mushroom clouds that killed everything for miles. The bug-like alien clicked loudly. This is what humans do. They fight. They kill. They destroy everything they touch. More pictures appeared. Forests cut down. Oceans filled with garbage. Animals going extinct because humans hunted them all. The floating gas leader pulsed with dark colors as these images played. You poisoned your own world, said the tree-like alien, its leaves rustling with disgust. You nearly killed every living thing on your planet. Why should we trust you with ours? Peter tried to speak, but Zektar cut him off. We have spies watching your system, human. They tell us interesting things. You build new weapons. You test new ships. You prepare for war even now. The cat-like alien from another world stood up. Her golden fur bristled as she spoke. Our intelligence says humans have been making weapons they call defensive, but we know better. A weapon is a weapon. Peter's face turned red. We have the right to defend ourselves. Every species in this council has weapons. But we do not use them on each other anymore, said the water-breathing alien through its translator. When was the last time your people had a war? 30 years ago, Peter answered. We have not fought each other since then. The crystal being laughed, making a sound like glass breaking. 30 years? That is nothing. Some of us have had peace for thousands of your years. The gas cloud leader floated closer to Peter's hologram. Tell us, human. In those 30 years of so-called peace, how many weapons did you build? How many soldiers did you train? How many warships do you have hidden in your asteroid belts? Peter was quiet for a moment. He could not lie. The aliens clearly knew more than he had hoped. We have defenses, yes, but they are for protection, not attack. Protection from what? Zektar asked, his eyes glowing brighter. From us. Are you planning to attack the council? No, Peter said quickly. We build defenses because we learned from history. We will never be helpless again. The room erupted in angry sounds. Clicks, hisses, musical tones that meant displeasure in dozens of languages. The aliens spoke to each other rapidly, their fear and anger growing. The tree alien spoke in a sad voice. You prove our point, human. You speak of peace but prepare for war. You say you have changed, but you still think like warriors. The leader's colors darkened to deep purple and black. We have heard enough. This council will meet again in 1 week to vote. I believe the decision is already clear. As Peter's image faded away, the aliens continued talking among themselves. Most were shaking their heads or making negative sounds. The human request seemed doomed before it could even be voted on. Far away from the council station, hidden in the dark space between stars, a black ship moved without making any sound. Its name was Shadow Strike, and it belonged to Commander Zixera. She was not part of the Galactic Council. Her people were warriors who sold their services to anyone who paid enough. For 20 years, Zixera had been watching the humans. Her people had secret bases hidden all around Earth's solar system. They watched. They listened. They recorded everything humans did. The Galactic Council paid them well for this information. Zixera looked like a tall gray alien with large black eyes and no hair. She stood in her ship's command center, looking at screens full of data about humans. What she saw puzzled her. "Show me the latest reports from Earth," she ordered her crew. A screen lit up with videos from inside human cities. Everything looked normal. People went to work. Children played in parks. Nothing seemed dangerous. But there were other videos that worried her. Deep in space, humans were building something big, something they were trying to hide. Her spies had found construction in the asteroid belt beyond Mars. Ships came and went from there, but they moved carefully, as if they didn't want to be seen. "Commander," said one of her officers, "we have new readings from the human construction site. The energy signatures are strange." Zixera looked at the data. The readings showed power levels that shouldn't be possible. Human technology was supposed to be old and simple compared to galactic standards. But these numbers suggested something else entirely. Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Rick Sullivan walked through the halls of Earth Defense Command. He was a tall man with black hair and serious brown eyes. The walls around him were covered with pictures of Earth from space, their beautiful blue planet that the aliens had locked away from the rest of the galaxy. Admiral Janet Morris was waiting for him in the command center. She was an older woman with silver hair and smart eyes that missed nothing. Behind her, a large screen showed the solar system with tiny red dots marking where alien spy ships were hiding. "They're watching us more closely now," Admiral Morris said. "Our sources say the council meeting went badly." Rick nodded. Peter did his best, but they've already made up their minds. They think we're still the same humans from 50 years ago. "Maybe it's time to show them how wrong they are," the Admiral said. She pressed a button, and the screen changed to show a new image. It looked like a ship, but unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. It was sleek and powerful, with lines that seemed to flow like water. "The new Providence is ready," Rick said. "All systems tested. Captain Lucy Webb has her crew prepared." The Admiral smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. "Good. Dr. Lisa Chen found something interesting yesterday." "Show him, Doctor." Dr. Chen stepped forward. She was a young woman with long black hair and glasses. In her hands was a device that beeped and flashed with lights. "We've detected quantum disturbances near Jupiter. Someone is definitely watching us. Their scanning technology leaves traces." General Henry Cooper joined them. He was a big man with a gray beard who had been a soldier for 40 years. "We've known they had spies. The question is, are we ready to do something about it?" Admiral Morris looked at each of them. "The council will vote in 4 days. We've tried words. We've tried showing them our peaceful progress. They don't want to listen. Maybe it's time they saw what we're really capable of." Rick felt excited and nervous at the same time. "What about the other project? The one on Luna Base?" "Dr. Mike Torres tells me it's ahead of schedule," the general said. "The weapon is ready if we need it, but let's hope it doesn't come to that." Dr. Chen looked worried. "Are we sure about this? Once we reveal what we've built, there's no going back. The galaxy will know what humans can do." "They already think they know," Admiral Morris said. "They think we're primitive and violent. Time to show them they're half right. We are capable of violence when we need to protect what matters." The room fell quiet. Outside Earth's atmosphere, alien spy ships continued their watch, not knowing that the humans had been watching them back. Soon, both sides would learn truths that would change everything. The council chamber was full again. All 12 alien species had gathered to make their final decision about humanity. The vote would happen today. Most of the aliens had already made up their minds. Zektar stood first, his scales gleaming in the chamber's light. "I propose we extend the human quarantine for 200 more years," he said, "until they prove they can truly change. They are still too dangerous." The crystal being chimed in agreement. The cat-like alien nodded her golden head. One by one, the species began to vote. Each vote was the same: keep humans locked away. The Vorthok Empire votes to extend quarantine, Zektar announced. The crystalline hegemony agrees, sang the crystal alien. The Felinar Pride votes yes to continued isolation, purred the cat-like being. The tree alien's leaves rustled sadly, but it too voted to keep humans trapped in their solar system. The gas-clouded leader counted each vote, pulsing dimmer with each one. Only the Aquatic Federation seemed unsure. Their representative floated in a tank of water, bubbles rising around their fins. Perhaps we should give humans one more chance, they said. But most others disagreed. The vote was almost finished. It looked certain that humans would remain prisoners in their own solar system for many more years. Suddenly, alarms screamed through the station. Red lights flashed everywhere. The aliens looked around in confusion and fear. A voice came through the station's speakers. It was calm but urgent. Long-range sensors detect unknown vessel approaching. Speed impossible by current technology. Energy signature unknown. On the main screen, a dot appeared among the stars. It grew bigger and bigger as everyone watched. Soon, they could see it clearly. The ship was unlike anything in the galaxy. It was white and silver, with smooth curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal. It moved faster than anything should be able to move. The station's defense systems tried to lock onto the ship, but nothing worked. The weapons couldn't target it. The shields couldn't stop it. The ship simply ignored everything the station tried to do. Zektar's scales turned pale with fear. What is that thing? No species in the galaxy has technology like that. The crystal being made nervous, high-pitched sounds. The tree alien's leaves shook. Even the floating gas leader pulled back into a tight ball of swirling colors. The ship stopped right next to the station. It was huge, bigger than any warship the aliens knew. But it made no threatening moves. It just waited. Then a voice came through the communication system. It was a human voice, clear and strong. This is Captain Kelly Wright of the Earth vessel New Victory. I request permission to dock and address the Galactic Council. The aliens stared at each other in shock. Humans weren't supposed to be able to leave their solar system. The barriers around Earth should have stopped any ship from getting out. Impossible, whispered the bug-like alien. The containment field should stop them. The station's commander, a nervous little alien with 4 arms, spoke into his communicator. Unknown vessel, you are in violation of galactic law. Humans are forbidden to leave the Sol system. Captain Wright's voice came back, still calm. With respect, Commander, I am already outside the Sol system. I am here with important information for the Council. Information that will change everything. The gas-clouded leader pulsed with angry red and black colors. How did you break through our barriers? We'll explain everything, Kelly said. But first, we need to speak to the Council. Lives depend on what we have to show you. The station's weapons tried again to lock onto the human ship. Nothing worked. The ship's shields were like nothing they had ever seen. After several minutes of frightened discussion, the Council leader finally spoke. You may dock, human, but any aggressive action will result in immediate destruction. Kelly laughed, a sound that somehow held no fear. You're welcome to try, but you might be surprised at the results. We're docking at Port 7. Prepare yourselves, Council. You're about to learn some very interesting things about humanity. Captain Kelly Wright walked into the Council chamber with 2 other humans. She was a woman with short red hair and green eyes that looked completely unafraid. Next to her stood Ambassador Peter Kane, who the aliens recognized from the earlier meetings. The third human was a young man with dark skin and a science officer's uniform. His name badge said Tommy Rodriguez. The aliens stared at them in silence. No human had set foot in this chamber for 50 years. Yet here they were, calm and confident as if they belonged there. Kelly looked around the room at all the different alien faces watching her. Then she smiled. Thank you for letting us speak. What we're about to show you will explain everything. She raised her hand, and a device appeared in her palm. It projected a large hologram in the center of the room. The image showed stars and planets, with date markers showing recent time. 6 months ago, Kelly began, our deep space sensors detected something at the edge of the galaxy, something that shouldn't exist. The hologram changed to show a dark cloud moving through space, but this wasn't a normal cloud. As it moved, stars went out. Whole solar systems simply disappeared. The aliens leaned forward, suddenly very interested. The bug-like creature clicked nervously. "What is that thing?" "We called it the Devourer," Tommy Rodriguez explained. "An entity from outside our galaxy. It consumes matter and energy. Everything it touches becomes part of it." The crystal alien made a worried chiming sound. "Why didn't our sensors detect this?" Kelly's expression turned serious. "Because it was moving through the empty space between galaxies. Your sensors only watch inside our galaxy. You didn't know because you weren't looking." The hologram showed the dark entity getting closer and closer to civilized space. Star charts marked the paths it would take. Many of those stars had planets with billions of alien creatures living on them. Zektar's scales had turned completely white with fear. "How long before it reaches us?" "At its original speed, it would have reached the outer colonies in 3 months," Peter Kane answered. "Would have consumed everything, including this council station." The tree alien's leaves rustled with panic. "You said would have. Did it change course?" Kelly nodded. "Yes, because we stopped it." The hologram changed again. Now it showed human ships. Lots of them. Ships bigger than anything the aliens had seen. Ships that moved in perfect formation through space. "When we detected the threat, Earth's government made a decision," Kelly continued. "We couldn't warn you because we were locked in our solar system. We couldn't wait for help because there was no time. So we acted." The images showed human vessels reaching the dark entity. But these weren't normal battles. The humans weren't trying to fight the creature directly. They were doing something much more dangerous. Tommy pointed to the hologram. "We couldn't destroy it with weapons, so our scientists found another way. We had to get close enough to disrupt its quantum field." The aliens watched in stunned silence as human ships flew straight into the dark cloud. The vessels were enormous, but they looked tiny compared to the entity they faced. "Those ships," the floating gas leader asked quietly, "how many humans were on them?" Kelly's face grew sad. Each ship carried 500 people, scientists, military personnel, volunteers. They all knew they wouldn't come back. The hologram showed ship after ship disappearing into the darkness. But something was happening. The entity was slowing down. Its shape was becoming unstable. Peter Kane spoke into the silence. "We lost 47 ships and 23,500 people stopping that thing. People who had families, children, dreams." The crystal being's chimes dropped to barely audible levels. "Why didn't you tell us about this threat?" Kelly looked at each alien in turn. "Would you have believed us? Would you have cared about a threat to species you'd already written off as too primitive to matter?" The council chamber fell completely silent. The only sound was the humming of the station's machinery and the quiet breathing of frightened aliens. Finally, the tree alien spoke in a whisper. "You saved us all, and we didn't even know." The hologram continued to show the battle against the dark entity. Kelly Wright touched her device, and the image zoomed in to show individual human ships making their final approaches. "This is the science vessel New Hope," Tommy Rodriguez said softly, led by Dr. Amanda Foster and her team of 60 researchers. They gathered the data we needed to understand how the entity worked. The aliens watched as the ship flew closer to the dark cloud than any others. Readings streamed from the vessel until the moment it disappeared into the darkness. The ship's signal lasted only seconds, but those seconds meant everything. Dr. Foster was 34 years old, Kelly said. She had 2 children. She volunteered because she knew the knowledge was worth more than her own life. The cat-like alien looked uncomfortable. Her golden fur was standing up. These humans, they chose to die. They chose to save everyone else, Peter Kane answered. Even people who hated them, even you. The hologram shifted to show another group of ships. These were military vessels, sleek and powerful. They moved in perfect formation toward the entity's core. Commander Nicholas Barnes led the final assault, Kelly explained. 20 ships, 10,000 people. They carried quantum disruption devices built specifically for this mission. The aliens could see the ships getting smaller and smaller as they approached the massive dark shape. Energy readings on the screen showed the entity fighting back, sending waves of destructive force toward the human vessels. One by one, the ships were torn apart by the entity's defenses, but each time a ship died, it released its quantum device. Slowly, the dark entity began to change shape. Barnes sent a final message, Tommy said. He pressed a button, and a human voice filled the chamber. It was calm but determined. To whoever finds this recording, we succeeded. The entity is destabilizing. It will consume no more worlds. Earth's children send their love to the stars. Tell everyone, we did this because it was right. The bug-like alien's clicking sounds had stopped completely. The crystal being was pulsing with dim, sad colors. Even Zektar's scales had lost their angry red color. The quantum disruption worked, Kelly continued. The entity collapsed into itself and disappeared, but it cost us more than we expected. New images appeared. These showed the aftermath. Human ships damaged beyond repair. Rescue vessels searching for survivors they would never find. Memorial services on Earth and Mars where millions of people mourned their lost heroes. Captain Susan Blake commanded the medical ship Mercy, Peter said. She led the rescue efforts after the main battle. 700 doctors and nurses died trying to save others. Colonel Marcus Thompson organized the evacuation of 3 civilian stations in the entity's path. Tommy added, his ships saved 50,000 aliens from 12 different species that had never even heard of humans. The tree aliens' leaves were drooping with sadness. You saved aliens, people not even from your world. Life is life, Kelly replied simply. We don't save people because they're human. We save them because they're alive. The hologram showed one final image. Earth as seen from space, with thousands of small lights moving around it. Each light was a memorial satellite, placed in orbit to honor those who died. Every year on the anniversary, our children learn about these people, Peter explained. Not as war heroes, but as examples of what humans can do when we work together for something bigger than ourselves. The floating gas leader had pulled itself into a tight, dark ball. You're saying humans have technology we've never seen. Ships more advanced than ours, weapons that can destroy galaxy-level threats. And you used it all to save lives. Yes, Kelly said. That's exactly what we're saying. Zektar looked confused and ashamed. But why? Why save people who locked you away? Who called you primitive and dangerous? Kelly smiled sadly. Because proving you wrong wasn't worth letting you die. We didn't fight the devourer to earn your respect. We fought it because somebody had to. The council chamber was silent again. Many of the aliens were looking down, unable to meet the humans' eyes. The council chamber was quieter than it had ever been. Prime Ethereal Vorthun, the floating gas leader, slowly drifted closer to the humans. Its colors were dim and sad, not the bright commanding presence from before. Captain Wright, the Prime said, its voice barely above a whisper. You lost thousands of your people to save aliens you had never met. Aliens whose governments had locked you away like prisoners. Why? Kelly looked directly at the swirling gases that made up the Prime's body. Her green eyes were steady and honest, because it was the right thing to do. We didn't fight that creature to prove we deserve a seat at your table. We fought it because no one else would. The tree alien's leaves rustled softly, but you could have let it consume the outer colonies first, waited to see if we would ask for help, used the threat to bargain for your freedom. Tommy Rodriguez stepped forward. That's not who humans are anymore. We don't trade lives for political gain. Zektar, the snake-like alien, looked completely different from when the meeting started. His scales were gray and dull. We had intelligence reports about increased human military activity. We thought you were preparing to attack us. Peter Kane nodded. You were partly right. We were preparing. But not to attack you. We were preparing to defend the galaxy, even from threats you couldn't see coming. The crystal being made soft, sad sounds. Our sensors never detected this entity. Our science said it was impossible. How did primitive humans find it when we could not? Because we looked where you didn't think to look, Kelly explained. You've been at peace so long, you forgot that danger can come from anywhere. You scan for ships and weapons, but not for things that might threaten all life. Ambassador Kane touched his communication device. A new hologram appeared, showing star maps with trade routes and colonies. There's something else you need to know. Earth didn't act alone. The bug-like alien clicked quickly. What do you mean? While you kept us locked away, we made contact with 17 other species. Peter explained. Races you said were too young or too primitive for council membership. The hologram showed planets and ships belonging to different alien species. Some looked familiar, others completely new to the council members. Kelly smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. The Kethran asteroid miners, the Veltar ocean farmers, the Genki crystal growers, all species your council ignored. We've been working together for 20 years. Together, we formed something new, Tommy added. The Alliance of Free Worlds. We share technology, knowledge, and resources. No species rules over the others. The cat-like alien's ears flattened against her head. You built your own council. Not a council, Peter corrected. A true alliance. When the devourer threatened everyone, all 17 species contributed. Ships, people, ideas. The final attack wasn't just human ships. It was an alliance effort. The floating prime's colors shifted to deep purple, a sign of shame in its species. We abandoned our duty. We were supposed to protect the galaxy, but we were too busy protecting our own power. You weren't the only ones who knew about the human quarantine, Kelly revealed. Some council species secretly traded with us. The Aquatic Federation bought our medical technology. The Mineral Collective wanted our mining equipment. The water-breathing alien in their tank looked embarrassed. Bubbles rose faster around their fins. We, our people, were dying from a plague. Human medicine saved millions of lives. You broke your own quarantine rules. The tree alien observed. Yet you still voted to keep humans locked away. Because we were afraid, Zektar admitted. Afraid that if humans joined the galaxy openly, they would be better than us, stronger than us, make us look foolish. Kelly laughed, but it wasn't a mean laugh. We never wanted to be better than you. We just wanted to be part of something bigger than ourselves. When that failed, we built something new. The prime ethereal's gases swirled faster. And now that something new saved us all. The Galactic Council faced a choice that would change everything. Prime ethereal Vorthun floated in the center of the chamber, its colors shifting slowly from dark purple to lighter blues and greens. The change in color meant the leader was thinking deeply about what to do next. Captain Wright, the Prime said finally, humanity has already moved beyond us. You have your own alliance. You have saved the galaxy. You have technologies we can barely understand. What do you want from us now? Kelly smiled and looked around the room at all the different alien faces. Some looked ashamed, others curious, and a few still seemed afraid. We want what we've always wanted, to be part of something bigger, to work together instead of apart. Zektar's scales had slowly returned to their normal color, but his voice was humble now. How can we make up for 50 years of keeping you in prison, for not trusting you when you saved our lives? Peter Kane stepped forward. By helping us build something better than what came before. The old council was about control and fear. Let's create something about cooperation and hope. Tommy Rodriguez activated his device again. This time, the hologram showed something new. A massive space station under construction, bigger than anything anyone had ever seen. It had sections designed for every type of creature, water areas for ocean dwellers, crystal gardens for mineral beings, gravity sections for different species. We call it Unity Station, Kelly explained. It's being built at the edge of neutral space. Every member of our alliance is contributing, even former council species who secretly helped us. The tree alien's leaves perked up with interest. You're building a new meeting place for all species, not just for meetings, Tommy said, for learning, for sharing, for living together. Humans, Kethran miners, Veltar farmers, and anyone else who wants to join us, including all of you. The bug-like alien clicked softly. You would welcome us, after everything. Of course, Peter smiled. We're not children holding grudges. We understand why you were afraid of us. Our history gave you good reasons to worry. The crystal being chimed with a sound like hope. What would this new alliance look like? Kelly gestured to the hologram, which now showed ships from dozens of different species working together around the new station. No single species in charge. Decisions made together. Knowledge shared freely. Protection for everyone, not just the strong. And defense, asked the cat-like alien. What happens when new threats come? We face them together, Kelly answered simply. Like we did with the Devourer, everyone contributes what they can. No one stands alone. Prime Vorthon's colors brightened to clear blue and silver, colors that meant hope in its species. I formally apologize, on behalf of the Galactic Council, for 50 years of unjust imprisonment. For our fear. For our failure to see what humanity truly was. Kelly nodded gracefully. Apology accepted. But let's not waste time on the past. Let's build the future. Tommy touched his device once more. A new image appeared. A woman in a white uniform standing on what looked like a ship's bridge. The woman had silver hair and kind but strong eyes. Admiral Patricia Williams, commander of Unity Station Construction. The woman said through the hologram, the station will be ready in 6 months. All species are welcome. All voices will be heard. The Admiral's image continued. The new alliance has already established embassies on 47 worlds. We've shared medical technology that saved millions of lives. We've opened trade routes between species that never knew each other existed. The chamber erupted in sounds of approval. Clicks, chimes, rustling leaves, bubbles, and harmonic vibrations filled the air as different species showed their excitement in their own ways. Peter Kane raised his hand for quiet. When the chamber settled, he spoke his final words. We never wanted to prove we were better than you. We just wanted to prove we could be better together. The former Galactic Council was about to become something new. The Interstellar Confederation. And for the first time in 50 years, humans were no longer alone among the stars.